I'm Chris.
I'm Margie.
This is, how do I want to say this, Margie? I don't know. So we are currently at the Museum of the Soldier here in Portland, Indiana, where Margie's from. And we're going to go in and take a look and see what kind of stuff they have at this museum. Right?
Right.
Okay, here we go. So this is the uniform of Major General Martin Umbarger. He was the general while I was in Iraq for the Indiana Army National Guard. And we have Ford's Liftoff. Oh wow. Did you know this, Marge?
What? I did not.
Yeah. So you want to talk about it?
It says Space Shuttle Discovery pilot Kevin Ford, who was born in Portland and grew up in Montpelier, walks out of the operations and checkout building at the Kennedy Space Center at Cape Canaveral, Florida, Friday evening. And this was from the commercial review in August of 2009.
There's a picture of General Shanks, which is a name that you hear a lot around Portland. There's Shanks. And then they have lots of memorabilia. A ribbon, this 29th annual reunion ribbon, a Confederate 12-pound solid cannonball. Here's the original headstone of Private John J. Williams. And of course, it looks like a reenactment that they've done. Here we have, and you don't see these very often, U.S. Navy for during the Civil War. They have a lot of stuff surrounding this, but you don't usually see a lot of stuff from the U.S. from the Civil War era for Navy. Usually it's all kind of different. It's like all different kinds of stuff. You got a pistol here, probably showing everything that you need for the pistol. They got another one right here. This is a Colt model 1850 Navy revolver. William A. Walker, Confederate State Navy. Wow. We have some cards, some old cards. And then you got these old boxes. I noticed a couple of these with pictures in them. These must have been something that was around a lot of, but because I seen one just over here as well. I see like right here where it's almost like it's a mirror image with the picture in it. So this is the flight suit of Major Richard L. Rice, and Major Richard L. Rice actually piloted the U-2 spacecraft. Or, I'm sorry, I didn't mean spacecraft, aircraft, which was a spy plane. Which...
It says he wore this suit at various air shows, and some insignia is not what he wore when flying the U-2.
Oh, wow. So a lot of this stuff is from like the Vietnam era. So you're starting to see that kind of style in the different uniforms and everything. This uniform kind of carried on as the Class A's for a long period of time. You have the old flak jacket. They have some, I guess their pilot jacket is what that might be. The Marine uniform. So this is more, I think, of the blues. This is more of what they've kind of gone to now, the Army, but this looks like it's Navy, so I could be wrong. These are tiger stripes, or another flak jacket with the old steel pot helmet. It's a picture of Wayne Derby donated his tiger stripe uniform at the MOS exhibit Fort Harrison, May 7th, 1998. So, looks like they got a lot of the currency from Vietnam. And over here they have Rangers, Airborne Rangers. Some Ranger stuff. D Company Rangers, 151 1st Infantry, 38th Division. So you kind of see all the stuff they had from Vietnam. They had a comic book, Guerrilla War. And of course it looks like a picture that was signed by a bunch of soldiers as well. So we have a mannequin dressed what looks like pre or during Vietnam, or between eras, with the regular cot, which these were cots we still slept on while I was in. We did have this mess kit when I first got in. They ended up taking those. A lot of these old stuff we did still have for our kids, like the different canteen pouches and the ammo pouches. They were starting to phase them out and go to a different kind. Of course, this is the entrenching tool, but the entrenching tool was completely changed. There's the pistol belt, there's a protective mask, and the protective mask holder. So this would be the old foot locker with, oh, look at that. The socks are folded the way that we were taught to fold socks. You got your, of course you got your boot polishing, which they don't use anymore. Your flashlight, your razor, your toothbrush, and all kinds of stuff in there. And then of course you have your locker with all your uniforms in order. And then over here, they have multiple caps. I know the word bucket hat. There's a difference between a bucket hat and a boonie cap, and these are more of the boonie caps. But then you have some berets, which ended up being something that everybody wore, wears now, is a beret in the Army. Over here we have a mortar tube with a mortar round sitting down here on the ground. Below we do have an M16, and they have the old bayonet and a bottle for oil. We have some 50 cal rounds with some 50 cal machine guns. We have the old Muldoose machine gun. This machine gun I got to know really well because I was like the expert in my unit in breaking it down and cleaning it. So they have another mortar here. They have the old M1 Garand. The cartridges and all different kind expended rounds, and of course cans of lube. This area is just covering the women that served in Vietnam, mostly in like roles as nurses and stuff like that. So they actually have some of the different uniforms up here for the women that served. This looks like one of the uniforms of an enemy from the Viet Cong. So they'll have an old field radio. It looks like they got some paperwork that goes with it, but I think they also have another one around here. Yeah. So it looks like the stuff that they may have captured. I don't know. This may not be Viet Cong. This may be the other side. There's not really anything that tells me. There's some old uniforms. They got the CY patch on there from the 38th Infantry. This is Sudhoff. It says Sudhoff was a specialist, but he was airborne qualified. Here is another specialist, Evans. Let me see if this helps out. There we go. This was a specialist, Will, and all from Vietnam era and on around. Richard A. Martin from the U.S. Navy. This is an Air Force uniform from that era. And this is a pilot's jacket. Looks like a helicopter pilot, Huey helicopter in Vietnam. This is a U.S. Navy Seabee uniform. Probably from Vietnam era as well. A Navy uniform. Getting into some of the Marines. These are looking more and more like dress instead of actual fatigues that were wore in the battle. And then on around. This looks like almost like a pilot's uniform almost. And then you got more of the tiger striped camouflage. And then U.S. Air Force. So we're kind of jumping back. This is all World War I stuff. You start to see like the different way stuff is. The dog tags are strings with plates. What is this?
This is the insignia of the 34th Division.
Okay. You start to see the difference in the helmets and the way the clothing was.
Oh, that was just a Red Cross?
Yeah.
Okay.
Here's some of the German helmets from World War I. They have the great big spikes on the top of the helmets. I don't know if these were the helmets they actually wore while fighting. I would say maybe, possibly. It doesn't seem like it'd be very convenient. Then here we have some large shells. So, and then some of the stuff that soldiers would carry on them, like a straight razor for shaving, sewing kit. Of course, dog tags. Dog tags look a lot different back then. Some campaign medals, possibly. Small Bible. This was Earl Miller, Gas Regiment, Company E, 1st Gas Regiment. We have a case filled with different rifles. So this first rifle up here at the top is a US M 1989 Krang Jorgensen.
1898.
Oh, I'm sorry, 1898 Krag Jorgensen rifle and 30 to 40 caliber with bayonet. Second one, this is a wooden training rifle. The third one down is a 22 caliber training rifle made by Winchester. And we go down for Canadian Mark II Ross rifle and a .303 caliber used by the United States for training. On down, the pattern 1914 Enfield rifle and .303 caliber was a British rifle adopted by the United States. I've heard of the Enfield. So moving on over here, we have a couple rifles. So we have, what's it say in orange?
USM 1903 rifle, 30 caliber with bayonet.
All right. Number 7.
The USM 1903 Mark I with bayonet, modified for the Peterson device.
And then
Number 8
number 8.
is an M1917 Enfield rifle, 30 caliber with bayonet, It was the result of a modification of the pattern 1914 rifle from British. 303.
And then the 9.
British SMLE short magazine B Enfield #1 Mark III rifle.
So, and then we have some stuff. We have U.S. pistol, caliber 45. It says 10, but there's not.
There's 11 right here.
Yeah, but I mean, I think it's missing. It's not here.
Oh, it just shows the box there.
Yeah, I think it's actually usually sitting right there. Probably, maybe they got it out for cleaning. Number 11 is a model 1917 Smith & Wesson 40 caliber. After that, they have, what is it?
The model 1917 Colt 45 caliber revolver.
And then after that, they have
The model 1917 Smith & Wesson 455 caliber revolver.
Here are some uniforms that would have been worn during World War I. They've got the old brown round that they wore back then. It was kind of like a different thing back in. But of course, they still carried the sabers. Here we have some U.S. Navy uniforms. You don't see a lot from the U.S. Navy for World War I. I mean, you do, but you don't see as much. It doesn't seem like in our area. Maybe it's because we live more closer to central the United States. What do you have over here?
Well, these are just items in this exhibit represent the service of an Army nurse.
Okay.
She was from Bryant. She served from 1918 through mid-1919. 1918 through 1919.
Some of the weapons that were used, I believe, would it be during World War I? Is what I'm guessing. The Mark I machine gun, which they had the discs. I don't know how well that would have been to carry a disc. Of course, this one, the rounds were put into a box and pulled out and was on like that straight thing. Another thing I don't think would be easy to carry. You had automatic rifles. Not very many automatic rifles during World War I, but they had them. And this one would be a French model here. Here's the M1914 Colt machine gun. Kind of different looking weapons. And then like this one, the reason why the barrel looks this way is because most of them were water cooled. So there would be water to try and cool down the barrels. Sort of like the same one with this one. Now, if I'm right, I don't know if this is what I think it is. It might be. No. I don't see anything talking about this weapon here. Right, I think a lot of this is basically a lot of stuff that's just been donated from people who serve that are from this area. So this is from did you say Andrew Whitaker?
Yes.
Yeah, so he was a Marine.
He was from Bryant.
Yeah. So you see the different ribbons and medals he had. Here we have some medals. I know one's a Purple Heart. The other ones are kind of hard for me to remember what they are. This is from a group called the Ravens. A group of Ravens posed with AT-28 in June of 1970 at Long Tiang Standing Craig. So this would probably while the Vietnam War. Charles Engel is greeted by General Vang Pao, leader of the HOM resistance fighters. Upon his return from a successful mission, the general was highly respected by the Americans for his tenacity and tactical ability in fighting the invading North Vietnam troops in Laos. So he was awarded the Silver Star Medal, the Bronze Star Medal, the Purple Heart, the ARCOM, and the Army Conduct Medal, the National Defense Service Ribbon, and the Vietnam Service Medal. As long as the Vietnamese Campaign Medal, Vietnamese Gallantry Cross with Palm, the Vietnamese Merit Medal. This is Milo Bill Ludi, Company G of the 501st Parachute Infantry Regiment of the 101st Airborne Division, killed in action on June 6, 1944 in Normandy, France. So, they have a picture of him right here. They have his dog tags. I think maybe that would have been it, because we're over on a John Clifton who died during World War II. I didn't see. Yeah, in grateful memory. Oh, this might be a different person. John M. Clifton, killed in action. Jamestown youth met death on D-Day, T5. John Marion Clifton, 23, a son of Marion Clifton, Jamestown, a member of the U.S. Rangers, was killed in action in France, according to a War Department message received by the father Saturday. On Sunday, June 25th, Mr. Clifton received a message saying that his son was reported missing as of June 6th on D-Day. The second message said that a letter would follow giving the details of his death. Here is a PFC, John W. Carter. He was killed in action July 17th, 1944, Normandy, France. Private First Class Farrell Ritchie, who died in service of his country in Southwest Pacific, November 23rd, 1942. He stands in the unbroken line of patriots who have dared to die that freedom might live. So here's the so that would be the John M. Clifton's headstone. Here we have Private First Class Harold Weststone from Bryant, Indiana. There's a Purple Heart. PFC Farrell Ritchie, who we just read about. There's a picture of him there. Drum McLaughlin. Go ahead.
This government contract secure phone was one of the 4 secure phones used by the president while he was at Offutt Air Force Base, Nebraska, in the aftermath of the terrorist attacks on New York and Washington, acquired for the Museum of the Soldier, incorporated by Nathan Keever via Major General Kevin T. Campbell.
So here we have some more World War I stuff, actually from the Cyclone Division, the 38th Infantry out of Indiana. So you're starting to see stuff from World War I. Probably gonna move on. See some more. We got a Fraser. Don't see no rank, but these are all. Oh, there we go. So here we go. The Battle of Bataan. So this is what the 38th Infantry of the Cyclone Division is known for, as being the Avengers of Bataan. I'm surprised there's not a picture of the actual painting, But the CY patch is the patch I wore for a long time when I first got in. So, but this would be more of the World War II here. So I do have this patch at home, and both this and the subdued, because I wore this patch for a while. And then you're starting to see the MPs with it on the side of their helmets. So, and over here, I think we have more. Not for sure. This might be some Civil War stuff over here. So they've got a lot of different stuff. And I think what it is just a lot of stuff that's donated and brought in. But man, some of this stuff is really neat. Here we have, this would have been the uniform I first started wearing. This is from Golly. This was my, this was one of my commanders. So Major Jeremy Golly. So this, he probably wore this uniform when I was in Bosnia with him. So we got a Griffin. I didn't know a Griffin. We've got the different kinds, more of, there's the desert camo, which would have been more of the Desert Storm type camo. Coming around, looking at all the different uniforms, the old sweaters like that, everything. So coming around, basically what they're wearing today. So I know this looks like, this is something that you would wear if you're wearing like armor. So it can give you the appearance of wearing like the uniform underneath, but then having like a t-shirt like feel on you. So when you have, it wouldn't be, how do I want to say that, so hot wearing the armor. So I didn't see, if I've been looking, I hadn't seen any armor in here. If they got any, we'll have to see. But this is more of the camouflage they're wearing now, still with everything on the side. So showing their rank. Not really, wasn't a big fan of the old, trying to see what he has on the other side. So, but not really a big fan of this kind of flag. So this was more of what we wore in Iraq. So before they changed over, once again, this was used because of wearing body armor. It's not at the actual tops. Once again, they also have one of those that I don't like. This was a Baker. And that is the other, that is the combat patch that I have. Because that was what I served under when I was in Iraq. So, but you start to see, so some of this stuff is sort of the older stuff, more of the maybe early Gulf War stuff. Down here you're starting to see more. This is what the actual uniform would look like. I have a couple of these, and oh my gosh, and this one is Margie's cousins. So I'm pretty sure this belongs to Stevie Lothridge, who's Margie's cousin, who actually was with me. Wait, I don't think it was it?
In Bosnia?
Yeah, but we didn't wear those in Bosnia.
This is not Stevens.
Okay, so I'm wrong. This is
Thomas.
It's Thomas, so still your cousin. So, but we have more. So here we go. We got the FOB. This looks like, yeah, this looks like maybe what one of the interpreters were. Maybe, I don't know. Different kinds of stuff from over there in Iraq. So you got some of the older uniforms. You got there's boonie cap up there at the top. You got a Marines baseball jersey. Just really neat to see. It's almost like going almost through time while looking at uniforms right here. An old Jeep sitting right here. So I don't know if these were the same Jeeps that when I first got in, because believe it or not, when I first got in, they were still using Jeeps. So this may be older than that, but maybe not. Maybe it was the same kind. I don't remember. I didn't ride in them very often. But and then back here, they actually have the Humvee. So, and I believe that is it a deuce and a half? I believe it's a deuce and a half. I was wondering if it was a deuce and a half or a 5-ton, but it's a deuce and a half. And then on around here, they have all kinds of stuff back here. Different kinds of vehicles and everything. They got like where you would set up. They got set up for coffee. I think this is where but all different kinds of stuff as we look through. Of course, we have a half track here with different kinds of weapon systems on there. Half track being that they have the track in the back and then they have regular wheels in the front to steer it. They got these different rucksacks hanging off of it, honoring our veterans. Kind of get a look of what it looks like inside this half track. A lot of this looks like it has to do with vehicles and equipment back in this area. So that's a fuel can. It's a radio receiver. Utility heater. Wow. All different kinds of stuff. What is that? Navy gun sight. Wow. Turn around, take a look at some of the stuff they have here. A signal gun. Ah. Different kinds of flashlights. World War II era military products of the Durham Manufacturing Company, Muncie, Indiana. This display of the military contract item apparently made by the Durham manufacturer. So we got back here and a lot of this is kind of like stuff that's a little bit different. All right, so that's going to do it for here at the Museum of the Soldier here in Portland, Indiana. This place, there's not hardly anybody in here. I don't think they get very many visitors. Mm-hmm. It's kind of off the beaten path a little bit here in Portland, not usually in an area where most people would drive through that's not a native to Portland. Yeah. So it's kind of something you got to look for, but I mean, there's a lot of amazing stuff. So if you're in this area and
Check
you
it
have
out.
time, come and check this place out. So,
And
and it was free, wasn't it?
Yes, but we'll have to let you know when they're open. There's a sign. We'll go on here and tell them.
Right. So, or we'll put it in the description.
Okay.
But if you ever get into this area, definitely stop in. This is amazing. So it used to be part of the old Coca-Cola bottling company is where the building's from. So, but that's going to do it. So thank you guys for joining us. And I hope to see you on our next adventure. We'll see you later.
Bye.
Bye.